Imagine. Take your wildest dream and make it a reality. Make it not a dream anymore. Make it something that's real. Bring it to fruition. Tell yourself you're a star.
Peace. Choose to inspire, not destroy podcast, and we're back.
Austin.
Yo, choose to inspire, not destroy.
Choose to and not destroy podcast, and we're back. I got my guys with me. Kofi, G, I'm B. I don't even know what episode this is, but it's gonna be a good one. All right, let's kick it off, fellas. G, how was your week?
Hit him with the buzzer, ladies and gentlemen. Hit him with the red question mark. That was cool. He's mocking me. I needed that. Appreciate that, King. Thank you for warming the seat up for me. Peace. Choose to inspire, not destroy podcast, episode 29, and we're back. I got my guys with me. Brandon, Kofi, I'm G. If this is your first time here, thank you for joining us, giving us a shot. You're welcome. You're in a safe place. If you've been here before, thanks for sticking with us. Hope you've been enjoying, and you see that we trying to move forward. Before we get into how the fellas are doing, I just have to address a few things. We apologize for the technical difficulties. The sound, the video, we're working on it. It will be corrected. We don't think it's acceptable, and we're going to make sure that we provide the best content that we can for you guys. We're not just sitting here trying to have fun and a few laughs and think that it's all games. We take this very serious, and we take the product that we put out to you guys very serious. So please bear with us. Subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and just know that we working, and we appreciate y'all. Fellas, what's up, man? How y'all doing?
It's been a day.
It's been a day.
Yeah.
What kind of day?
But, normal stuff.
Regular stuff.
Yeah.
Unless you want me to go first, because I actually had something to say this time. This
Yeah,
like
go ahead. Go for it.
this is I've been having a lot of firsts. I spoke about Amari and his dad and his birthday. That was a first for me. This one is not such a great first, man. Yeah, you know how like the GPS, well, context. In my area on the highway, for some reason, when you get to a certain point on the GPS, when it wants you to make a U-turn, it gives you like the exact spot to make the U-turn. So imagine you on the highway, you're making a U-turn, and then you're trying to get to your far right to your destination. So like if I was going to Target, it made me make the U-turn, and then it was like, your destination is on the right. And I'm like, damn, like I'm on the left. There's no way I'm going to be able to make it to the far right, 3 lanes to get to the Target parking lot. So I get over as quick as I can. I end up getting to the exit of the parking lot. So I know I'm wrong. I'm playing myself. But it's either wait there to enter or go all the way around, make another U-turn, go past the destination to be able to make the U-turn to enter the way I need to enter. So I waited out. People are nosy. They looking at me like I'm crazy. Why is this dude on the shoulder? What's going on? I'm waving them. Go ahead. Like, I know I'm wrong. I don't need you to give me any extra. I'm just trying to get in right there.
Yeah, it's
one car. Yeah, it's like just leave me alone. I know I messed up. There's one car that is clearly enough room for me to get on now. This dude speeds up, but I'm already in motion. So we come to a point to where it's like we're damn near side by side in the space. And he's screaming and yelling. I could tell he's screaming and yelling, "You're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way." And I'm like, I know. I wanted to roll my window down, but he didn't have a mask on. And it's still COVID for me. Anything could happen. He could have been feeling real crazy and spit in my face or something. Anything could have happened. So I didn't roll the window down. You know, I'm always trying to be on point. But this dude, guess what he said to me?
Yo, I feel like sky's the limit.
Yo, he said, "You're going the wrong way, you dumb nigger."
Oh, he went all the way with it.
He went all the way.
Oh,
You're
Hard
going
ER.
the wrong way, you dumb, with the ER. Like it was no slang to it. It and
all right, hold on, wait. I need some more context first. Who's in the car with you?
it's me and a younger kid. Like
Okay.
a late teens.
Okay.
So it was like, mind you, this is my first. This is the first time I've ever been called that by somebody else, and I'm not putting it under it was a term of endearment. It came from a hateful place. It came like he showed who he was in his full form. And my first instinct was, you're right next to me. Your vehicle is right next to mine. I can open this door and snatch you out of your vehicle and really show you what being dumb could be like. Really make you experience what you're trying to portray me as. If you really want that. I could almost feel the rage coming back now as I talk about it, because I couldn't believe it. It was like, yo, are you serious? Because I'm pulling in a spot and I already know I'm wrong. That's where you go. And the kid was just like, he was like, that's crazy. And I thought about him, because it was a teaching moment. It was, listen, I could hurt this man. Like, I could really violate him right now and show him that you can't get away with that. But then maybe he takes that and he felt like that's how he got to carry on and that's how he got to behave. It's hard to turn the other cheek. Like, it's tough to feel like he's already probably dying from something else. He's already probably dying inside. He hate himself. He just hate who he is, and he can't do nothing about it. So he want to hate me without even knowing me. He's an idiot, a fucking asshole. Like, no other way to put it. There's nothing dumb about me. I'm not a nigga, never have been, never will be. I'm a black king. I'm up here with my guys. 2 more black kings, raising little black queens and kings themselves. So, yo, fellas, when I say, I've been waiting to talk to y'all about this one.
Yo, you know what gets me? I keep trying to convince myself that racism is dying, right? Like, yo, we in a mixed world, proximity, right? Like, it's easier to hate me when I'm not, like, around you, or to think I'm an idiot before you speak to me. Like, once you've heard me speak, you know I'm intellectual, right? So you can't have those same stereotypes and those same preconceived notions that you would have had when we were separated. But it never fails. It, like, immediately you get brought back to reality. Like some stupid kid, some angry adult, right? Because they know if they drop it, they've got the upper hand every time. It never fails.
Yeah, it is, and it's sad because it's like, damn. When can you just be happy? When can you just really get to a place of, yo, your blood it's the same as mine. It might be a different type, but if I do something to you and you do it to me, it's gonna be the same result. We all here together. I'm not really on that we are the world stuff all the time, but I'm not a hateful person. I don't hate anybody. I don't have that in me to be that judgmental, to be that That fucking dumb. And I'm sorry for cursing. I usually don't be cursing on here, but I feel like it's warranted for something like this. Like, enough is enough. And it made me think of my kids, man. Because they growing up in this world. Like, I'm a man. I could defend myself. I can process that and understand that these people, they just don't get it that feel that way. But my babies, there's a chance they're going to have to grow up and experience that at some point. And it shouldn't be that way no more. It's like we've been talking about this forever. And the more you talk about it, the more people feel like, damn, when they going to just let it go and leave it alone? We can't, because this shit is still in our face all the time. Leave us alone and we'll leave it alone. Simple.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Not shocked that like he said it. I'm just it's over like traffic. Like at the end of the day, it's over. It's not like you. It's not like you both were going for a job interview and they came out and said we have to go with George because he's the black candidate, right? And he could hear it and he didn't get it and he'd like and then like get mad, right? Like it's legitimately over traffic. And I'm not laughing to minimize it. It's just I'm laughing because it's unbelievable. It's over traffic. Now, get me wrong. I have road rage. I do. I say all types of crazy stuff, but I don't take it to an extreme like that. Like I never bring race into it. I'm just like this is, whatever you say outside of that in terms of road rage, and it's within the confines of my car. I've never once rolled down my. Matter of fact, I learned my lesson. I was driving George when I used to commute from the Poconos. Quick story time with Kofi. I used to commute from the Poconos. You remember that time? I was on the highway. We were on, what is that, 80? That takes you from the Poconos through Jersey back to like New York, pretty much. And like somebody cut me off, and I was in my sports car at the time. And the first time I ever and it was like an open highway, so we were both doing like 85, 90, and the person just comes in my lane, cuts me off, and keeps going. So I put it in manual, and I drop down the gear, and I accelerate up, and I catch up, and I'm about to yell at them, and I can see into the driver's side because he's on my right now, and he looks over at me, rolls down his window a little bit, and lifts up his shirt, and he had a gun. I was like, yeah, this is why I don't yell at people in traffic, because you just... Nope. And I've lived in Texas where it's okay to carry a gun. To the grocery store? It's all right. If you want to get upset over traffic, that's cool. I'm going to keep my windows rolled up.
Yo, I feel like this is like what the episode is going to be about, right? Because I got like 2 questions and I got a story, right? So the 2 questions that I want us to come back to, right, is like, yo, how do you address that with your children, right? Like, do you prepare them for it? Like, what's that conversation like? And also, like, not really a question, but like, I can't believe it took that long, right? So for the audience, like, G's grown and he feels like this is his first like real time dealing with it. Like, how old were y'all when y'all had this first start like addressing direct racism? Because I feel like since I was 10, right? Like, I've never had an instance where like it wasn't that way. Might be because I was small, right? So like people felt like they could try me, right? But I remember the first like the most overt time is like I'm the manager at a copy and print center, right? And I'm like helping one of the employees at the register doing something, and this lady comes up and she like I'm helping one person, and this lady comes up and she's like, "Oh, I need help," and I'm like, "All right, we'll be right there," right? And she's like, "Oh, I can't stand niggers always want to act this way," right? And the lady that I'm helping is like, "Whoa,"
Yeah.
right? Like she immediately was like, "What the fuck?" Right? And it's a white lady that I'm helping, the white lady that said,
These are the technical difficulties that I'm saying that we're working on. We're gonna figure it out why this is happening. It's not okay. We don't feel like it's acceptable. Please bear with us and just give us a little bit of time to get it together. Kof, have you ever dealt with that? Have you ever experienced that?
Good. I tried to just jump right back in.
Yeah.
Right. So I
All
mean,
right. Well,
long story short, the lady who I'm helping barks on the lady who is being racist, right? And like at that point, corporate, like every time, although the customer's always right, like corporate really believes that in all situations, right? So like the customer's berating you and you just got to take it, right? But I'm like, nah, you get the fuck out of my store. Like it's over. Oh, I'll call whoever you want, right? Get the fuck out of here. You're finished, right? Like I'll carry you out of here. Like you gotta go, right? So like she gets kicked out of the store. Of course, corporate barks on me when she comes down, but I'm like, I don't care, right? Like y'all can fire me. I'm not dealing with it, right? Like I'm never gonna be okay with that situation. But like that's like one of like 5 times working in retail that I've had someone look me in my eyes, on top of someone saying like they don't want me to check out their groceries because they don't deal with niggers. So it's just never stopped.
Wow.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's and it's crazy that you even that corporate, they're not gonna have your back on that, because that happened to my brother. Yeah, he lost his job. He was working at a museum, and my brother, he's been in prison more than he's been home. I feel like growing up, I've known him more for just always being locked up, never being home. Every time you looking for him, he's locked up. He had a little stretch where he came home, he was working at the museum, he was doing his thing, he was staying out of trouble, and he was making his way. And somebody called him that word and spit in his face at work because they were smoking on the premises somewhere they wasn't supposed to be smoking. And he told them, look, you're not supposed to be smoking over here. And it was like a shut up N-word, spit in your face. And he gave him the wrath. He gave him every little drop of what he was asking for with doing that. And they let him go. They fired him. Didn't even want to hear it. Didn't matter. It was, you're wrong. You should not have done that. Not you're suspended, nothing. It was, you're out of here. And he was never the same after that.
Wow. Wow. I can't think of a time I overtly experienced it. I mean, I remember there was a time where I was working with a recruiter, actually, when I was looking to change companies. And the recruiter and I connected on, I think it was online, because we both went to Syracuse. So he's like Syracuse alum, and he owns like the recruiter, like he owned like the recruiting agency, owner operator. And this was, I think we connected on LinkedIn before I had like my profile photo up there, because I've always been leery of like, not necessarily putting yourself out there, but like giving a reason to exclude you, right? So like if they don't know you, and like for those of us that are in, communities of color, if you have a name that sounds, that on a resume looks very ethnic, it's a quick way to weed you out, right? That's what at least we've always been taught, right? So I go by my first name on there, which is ambiguous, and I at the time I didn't have my photo up, so guy calls me, he's like, oh, you went to Syracuse? I'm like, yeah, we're having a conversation, like this is the intake phone call as I'm driving. He's like, and I'd love to bring you in, you have so much great experience. I'm like, okay. We set up the time. I go into the office. I'm sitting there, calls me in, shuts the door behind me. He's like, I have to tell you, after talking to you on the phone, I thought you were white. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. He's like, I hope you don't get offended by that, but I really thought you were like a white guy. And not that there's an issue with it, but I thought you were, and I was just like, at that point I checked out of my mind, but I kept my cool and was like, yeah, okay, like whatever. And he was like, yeah, well, we can definitely work with you, and because your experience is this, and I'm like, yeah. And I didn't follow up with him. I completely like deleted him from my LinkedIn, unfollowed him, never said anything bad about him because, it just isn't in my nature. It's like, this dude is messed up. I probably wouldn't say something publicly bad about him, but like if anybody that I know was going to work with him, I'd be like, hey, this was my experience with him. It's a pretty fucked up individual. But like, I'm sure I've experienced it, like, being mid-20s, going out with my friends after college when we're, working, in New York City and like bars and clubs. Like, yeah, like I've never experienced it where it's been said to my face, but you can tell from like when you walk into certain places and like the eyes, the looks, even like this, the subtle glances when music comes on at a bar that's like hip hop oriented, and everybody's like, oh, are you gonna break out? That'd be like me saying, are you gonna break out into a TikTok dance? Like, right? Like, but like,
you gonna bust a move?
Yeah. So I guess I'm fortunate where I've never had it done to my face, but I'm very aware when, purses are moved to the other side or streets are crossed or the normal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But man,
and that'd be crazy when that happened, don't it? Because sometimes you be feeling like I probably got more than you. Like, don't nobody want what you got. Like, I'm probably better off than you are, and you trying to cross the street or switch your bag to your other arm. Like, come on with the nonsense. And I get it. I'm not trying to be naive like everything is perfect. I know it's a lot of bad things going on out there and a lot of bad people doing the wrong thing, but enough with that already, man. That's it's getting old and we getting tired of it. We really are. And a friend of mine, somebody that actually watches the show, he hit me and he was saying that he feels like the show is geared more towards black people. And I just want to clear that up because it's not. We're geared towards people dealing with problems, people with stuff they need to get off their chest, people that's looking to better themselves, people that are inspired, just people. But don't get it twisted. We're black men up here, and we're trying to represent that to the best of our ability. So we're not singling anybody out. We're not saying one group is better than the next. No. But we're black and we're proud, and we're going to continue to be that and represent that.
All right. 100%.
True indeed.
That's okay.
Nah, I was going to pivot, but if you had something to
I was just going to say, that's what I mainly use social media for now, because like in our town, there's like a Facebook group for like people in our town, and I'm be honest, I'm like Michael Myers. I'm a stalker in that group. I'm like, oh, you're posting something crazy racist, block. And so to the point where now, like when we need stuff done, like around the house or like handyman services or anything, the first thing I go to is, can I find you on Facebook? If I can't, if you tell me you're on Facebook, then I immediately go to my block list. And if you're on my block list, then I'm sorry, I can't do business. Like, you're not going to sit out here, on Facebook and say all the crazy things that you want to say about any group of people and then expect to get business from them. Like, for me, morally, like, that's crazy. Like, you're not going to sit here and say terrible things about, anyone, right? That's offensive and then expect me to still support you and give you money. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. And I'm a little more lenient, like if, 25 years ago you said something, like, shit happens. I said some really dumb shit in my 20s and even when I was 17, 18. But, like, yesterday? And then you want to come to my house and do repair of the wall? Like, get out of here. You got to be crazy. So, yeah. Sorry, well, you're going to pivot. Go ahead.
Nah, I mean, what you just said reminds me of, like, a video that was going around the interwebs at one point where, like, a lady needed like a whole home services thing done. Dude shows up at her house with a truck with a huge Confederate flag on it. And she was like, See you later.
Yeah.
You got to go.
Yeah,
Like,
you
oh,
gotta
I'll
roll,
take it
bro.
down. I'll take it down. You know, she was like, "Nah, you lost the business. It's over for
Yeah.
you." Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
nice try, but
Yeah.
no dice.
Like, I know how you really feel. You're not gonna come
Mhm.
around here with that.
It feels like we moved into a point in this world where like we think actions come without consequences, and all consequences are, though we look at consequence as like a negative thing, it's just a reaction to whatever action you put out there. Could be good, could be bad. So like but it feels like we've moved to this place where I can say whatever I want, but then when I want to do business, it's I can totally take that down if that offends you. And it's like, nah, like that's how you feel, like, and that's okay to feel like that.
I'm glad you went that direction, because the other thing I wanted to bring up, or that I've been dying to talk to you guys about, is Dave Chappelle, right? Because oh boy, now here's the thing, right? I am a fan of Dave Chappelle. I have been on record with multiple people, multiple ethnicities, multiple orientations, saying like he's a genius, like he's the smartest guy in the room, and the way he's presenting it, like, has layers to it, right? But I've swayed, right? Like I'm like, well, you're not a genius if you're continuing to take the easy jab, right? If I make fun of the fat kid, the first time I do it, maybe I'm trying to encourage him, like, in a sideways way to, like, like poking fun at him to get him to, like, change his ways. But if I spend that, but if he's like, yo, I mean, stop calling me fat. Like, I don't like it, right? And then, like, all right, the next time I do it again, and then the next time I do it again, and then the next time I spend 30 minutes doing it, I'm like, yo, you're not a genius anymore. Like, I don't know if you should be canceled, but like, you're taking the easy route, right? Like, that's the easy jab. I don't want to beat around the bush. What I'm talking about is like his statements on the trans community, right? And he's like and he claims he's not anti-trans, but he's always like, for special straight now. First special, he's like, oh, the LGBT alphabet community, but they hate the trans and blah, and like, all right, you were trying to make a commentary on like the way it's perceived and like rights. Okay. Second time, yeah, but those trans people really hate me because blah. I'm like, I'm a little uncomfortable with it, but all right, like, freedom of speech, it's not my taste, but cool. Then they're like, yo, you gotta stop, right? Like, yo, you like, stop attacking us on all your specials. The next one, you like, oh, y'all can't like tell me what to say. I'm about to just, and another 15 minutes attacking the trans community, and then this one, you spend 20 minutes and you say like, oh, I got a trans friend. Right? Like, she's a comedian. She's trans. She was okay with it. Y'all need to be okay with it. Right? And I'm like, this reeks to me of like any white person who would have said nigger on their comedy special. And I'm like, yo, stop. Like, chill with that. Right? And then you like, oh, but Louis C.K., right, when he was with Chris Rock, he was like, oh, they say, I'm okay. He says I can say it. And Seinfeld was like, nah, y'all can't. That's not funny, right? Like, that's the way I feel about Chappelle right now, right? Like, sure, you got freedom of speech, but the shit's not funny anymore, right? Like, yo, how many times are they going to ask you, like, yo, stop picking on us. We got our own problems. Before you, like, all right, like, I'm a genius at comedy. I can make jokes about anything. There's a lot going on in the world right now. Why do I keep going in this lane? And that's where I'm arguing with people online, because everyone else just wants to be like, nah, he's fighting for freedom of speech and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but it's a fucking easy joke, right? Like, why you got to pick on someone who's asking you 4 specials deep? Like, yo, just leave us alone.
Yeah, I can live with that. You actually, that I agree with you on that one, B. I think when I saw like pieces here and there, what you were saying about it, I didn't know how I felt, but I never had spoke to you about your actual stance on it, and I didn't hear what he said either. But when you put it like that, it's kind of like, enough is enough, man. Like, it might have been kind of funny in the beginning, but now you're just going overboard. Like, why do you have to keep talking about it, especially when somebody is telling you they don't like it? For me, that's the line. For me, that's when it's not a joke no more. When somebody say, "Look, this is hurting me. I don't like this. This is making me feel uncomfortable." Any of those signs or words is like, okay, cool out a little bit. And the justification to say, well, so and so was okay with it, you need to be okay with it. No, I don't. I don't need to be okay with what somebody else is okay with. I don't have to tolerate what somebody else is willing to tolerate. That's why I'm me and why that person is them.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think, it's overboard. Um, I will question. So, and I get that they've asked him to stop. My question also, on the flip side of that is, so between each one of the specials, are people also attacking him? Not that him continuously saying stuff is right. Obviously, he has a bigger platform, but let's say that he was like, "All right, I'm gonna chill after the first special, or after the second special, going into the third." But very much like we see on Twitter and all this, people are still coming from it. It's kind of like once the hounds are let out, like it's hard to bring them back in, right? So like, let's say like he's like, "All right, I'm chill," and then people just keep fucking with him, right? And saying stuff. And yes, he should be the bigger person. He has a bigger platform. He's probably wealthier than, a lot of the people that would be coming for him. But I just question if maybe he did try and stop and people just kept antagonizing him, right? I think about, like, if you say something terrible about, if you disagree, I think I was listening to, it was something on Hot 97 where I think Rosenberg, like, thinks Nicki Minaj is a great MC, but he was like, Starships is terrible. Terrible. And apparently the barbs still come for him today. And he said that like 3 years ago. And he apologized, and like they still not trying to
I hear you, but here's the difference.
Right?
Here's the difference.
And like she's even like, "No, we're cool," but like people are still.
Nah, I hear you, but here's the difference. If the thing that they're attacking him about or defending themselves about is a comedy special, right? Is the thing that you present to 100 million people, right? And then they're like, "Yo, that's bullshit. You're transphobic," and that's the attack, right? Like saying like, "Yo, you've been attacking us," is the way they're attacking him, right? So the way you defend yourself is to do that same exact thing again, right? Like you present another 10 minutes on the comedy special, and it's like, "Yo, that's the problem," right? Like so now it becomes a bigger fight, right? Is he defending himself if he then goes on another comedy special? He's never apologized, right? Like, and I don't really expect him to apologize, right? Because he believes that's his artistic freedom.
Right.
Granted, right? But who has to tolerate it, right? Like, we no longer, like, blackface was funny as shit, right? Like, that was the shtick. They loved it. Blackface was funny as shit. Times changed. That's no longer acceptable. Right? Everybody learns hopefully from their past experiences, right? And as times change, hopefully you evolve forward. I no longer say you gypped me, right? Because that's the most simplest one where it's like, I didn't even know that was hateful, right? Like saying, "Yo, you gypped me," right? But like, that's an attack on gypsies, like screwing people over, right? And once I learned that, I was like, oh shit, I never would have thought of it, right? I never even knew there was any connotation to it at all. I thought it was just like, it meant, like, I thought gypped meant screwed over, right? Like there was no other definition for it. Once I learned it, I stopped saying that shit. Because I'm not trying to go out and offend people just for language, right? Like there are plenty of words that mean that shit. So he is the one, like if you're on a stage projecting out your hate, you're the attacker, right? You're projecting it to 100 million people, right? Everyone who is attacked can be like, "Yo, that dude ain't shit, man. He's been attacking me forever." On Twitter, adding him is not at all the same as him broadcasting a fucking dissertation about your culture. Same thing as any racist broadcasting dissertation about us.
Listen, I agree with you. I think I agree with your point 100%. I think in this situation, you're holding him to a set of standards that maybe he doesn't really give a fuck about. Like, you're holding him to your standards, which are obviously right and decent, and maybe he just doesn't give a flying fuck about it, and he's just like, because like, also he's an edgelord. Like, we've known that, you know, Dave Chappelle has always been an edgelord, right? From the first episode of the Chappelle Show, which is Clayton Bixby, right? If you remember that one, George.
Yeah, that's the first episode. That's the
That was
when
the
he
first-
played the blind racist
the
guy,
blind,
right?
right? The black blind white supremacist, right?
Yeah.
So he's an edgelord, and that's not an excuse. I just think he just doesn't care, and like that's like out of like.
But he does care. He does care, right? Because he walked away from Chappelle's show rather than to be the one presenting us as coons, presenting us as
so
like
right. How long ago was that? And do people change? Because when we think of people changing, we think of people changing for the better.
On this comedy special, part of the way he was attacking the trans community, he mentioned that he walked away, like that he was the bigger man and he took the holier stance, even though it cost him everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like he remembers that and he identifies with it today, right? Like that's his position, even though he's recouped those millions, right? So like the fact that he knows that instead of attacking us, he walked away from the money, makes it worse that he's taking the easy check by making fun of someone else.
Yeah, maybe he changed. And when we think of people changing, we think of it often as it being a positive thing. Some people are really good and then become shitty after a couple of years, right? Like he changed, and maybe he regrets walking away from all that money, right? Maybe somewhere deep down inside right now, this will be crazy, but like maybe somewhere deep down inside, he regrets walking away from all that money to defend us, right? Because he feels like we're not defending him from all these other people or other groups or whatever that are offended by him, right? So like,
but I feel like
that sound,
we do defend him. Like we champion Chappelle, the same way we championed Kanye, right? Like he was our guy. We relate to these people.
Kofi,
the problem is
start,
we
bro.
the problem is we put celebrities like
you hear the engine revving.
Yeah, don't stop. I don't know why you name drop Kanye. That was like a trigger word for him. Do y'all think that part of it though is just like with comedy, you're not supposed to be so sensitive. You know, you're supposed to just be able to laugh at yourself and get over things, and maybe that's kind of the approach he's trying to take, but I don't really agree with that, man. Like everything ain't funny. I don't gotta laugh at myself.
Right.
If it hurts me, it hurts me.
I think you can laugh at yourself. I think if he was trans, he could make the joke.
Okay.
If he was anywhere in the LGBTQ community, he would have more acceptance with what he's saying, right? Same way we can make all the black jokes we want about any kind of observation within our communities, but like some stuff is off limits if you don't live here, right? Like you gotta know if you're one of us, you can say what you want about us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Jewish people, my mom's is Jewish, right? Like my godmom's is Jewish, my little brother's is Jewish, my sister's Jewish, like. So I got plenty of Jewish family members, and they make plenty of Jewish jokes, right? And around them, I make plenty of black jokes. But I don't make Jewish jokes, and they don't make black jokes, right? We've never had a conversation like, yo, that's off limits. It's understood.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
Yeah.
like coming out of my mouth, it sounds bitter, right? Like, I don't want to hear my mom saying nigger, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if you got a black son. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and she doesn't want to hear me saying any Jewish derogatory shtick ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. One of my closest friends, actually the best man at my wedding, is white. Keith, KK, that's my heart, man.
Oh,
Like
I know Keith actually.
yeah, I love that dude, man. Like we been close for a very long time since high school to now. Yeah, I've never had an argument with him, a disagreement, nothing. He encouraged me to want to start playing ball in school, and he's always been there. So I got a lot of love for him, and it's just crazy that how everybody's just different. It's like you got two people that we don't see color. He ain't never made me feel uncomfortable. I got him kicked out his crib for letting me stay in his crib. And his uncle, I guess, I'm going to say he didn't want nobody in the crib. But the next thing I knew was he was like, yo, my uncle said I can't stay here no more. Like he knew you was here. And it was like, damn. But he ain't never throw it in my face. He ain't never make me feel crazy about it. It was just, yo, I needed somewhere to go that night, and he let me rock, and he paid the consequences for it. So, KK, shout out to you, man. Love you, dog.
Yeah. I don't know. Chappelle is always going to be an edgelord, and maybe he just became a worse person than we thought. And we don't know the entire story of, like, he says that he walked away for us, but we'll never know, right? It's between him and whoever else was in that office today, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, going to the bathroom. It's just you in the bathroom, right? Nobody else knows what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Right? So if you come out with a bunch of bruises on your face, you can say anything.
Yeah, true indeed.
Yeah. It's easy to sell it when nobody knows the real story. When you want it to look good to the people you telling the story to, you never know, man. It's just sad that this hate and all of this is never gonna go away. It's always gonna be something. And hold on, I want to answer your question about how we deliver that to our kids too, because they need to know that they're special, and it's not to put anybody else down. Like, building yours up does not mean that you're approving destroying something else. It just means that you want yours to flourish. So I encourage mine. I want them to know that their skin is beautiful, that they're admired, that they come from something great, and they're gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yo, B, what do you
The phone vibrated right off the counter.
Oh man, yeah. I wish we had like a bloopers segment or something. We might need to add a bloopers segment, but they're special, they're wonderful, they're talented, and they're gonna be great. And there are gonna be people that hate them because of the color of their skin, without knowing them, without giving them a shot. But that don't matter. They just always gotta be great and be themselves. And it's gonna be a lot of people that love them. I don't ever want them to feel less. Nobody could take that from you. They can't take your blackness. They can't take your greatness. And I won't let them. As long as I'm here, they're going to know that they're destined for something bigger than whatever somebody is trying to spoil of theirs.
Yeah, man. I had my daughter goes to a school where she's like in the super duper minority, right? So like there's probably 10 kids of color through the school, not even in her grade, like through the school. So she's probably in her class one of, let's say there's 3 out of 100 kids, right? So like she's one of the 1 in 30. So there's odds are in her classroom there's no one, right? She went through a phase when she was, I don't know, 5, 6, where she was like, I don't want to be black. Right? When she didn't want to be different. Like, no one wants to stand out. No one wants to be like other, right? And whatever other is. And we like that hit me hard, right? Because I'm like, man, did I make a mistake moving out here? Like, did I make a mistake raising? Like, where did I go wrong, right? Like, what am I doing wrong as a parent, right? So we had to like really go out of our way to make sure she knew of like what excellent things attribute to black people, right? Like her favorite singers, her favorite people, her favorite artists, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that was like, these are things that Black people created, right? Like I had to make sure I went out of my way so that she knew, like, yo, that song you singing, that song all your friends sing, that's the Black person. That dance y'all doing, that's a Black person. Like all the culture, those are Black things, right? Like you need to like start seeing that, right? Like everything that you have are things that people try to copy. Like they try to mimic what comes to you naturally. Like embrace that. Embrace how special you are. Like you won't see it today, but it will come where you'll notice like you have all the things you want to be happy already. And it was like a struggle. And it hurt my heart to hear my daughter say stuff like that. Secondly, because I felt that way. I know I felt that way because I grew up as the only Black kid in the whole white neighborhood. I know I remember getting picked on for being Black. I remember hearing the words. I still remember being told that I was left in the toaster. God left me in the toaster too long, right? And I remember hearing that in like the 4th grade, right? I beat that kid up, and I ain't hear that again.
Yeah.
But like those things stick with you, right? Like I can't give him a beating that's gonna erase that from my memory, right? Like he won,
Yeah.
right? Like it don't matter what happened. He won. He won that interaction. So like I never want my daughter to feel like that. That was a breaking moment.
That's tough.
Wow.
That's tough. It's tough to deal with, but you know, we got to be strong. We got to be strong for them. We got to instill something in them that is unchangeable and unbreakable. And it's our duty. And B, you doing your thing, man. Kofi, you doing your thing. Like, all hands on deck. They going to know that they're special. They're going to know that they're great. And they're going to embrace every aspect of that. By any means.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Plus, you already know the salute. You know what time it is.
Yeah. Word. We got away into a different bag, but it was a bag that we needed to get into. It was some things we needed to touch on. If you out there and you know you're not African American, please don't feel left out. Don't feel excluded. Don't feel like this is not for you. This was just us being us and expressing what we needed to express and letting everybody know what it is on this end, you know?
But also, I need to interject. If you're not Black and you've dealt with some of these things, like leave it in the comments. Like tell us like how it is from your culture, right? I would love to like bring somebody else on from a different culture and let them tell their side of it, right? Like that would be excellent to us.
Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be...
Absolutely. We're for everybody. We're for the people. We're for the inspired. You know, we got love to give and we got things to share. You already know what it is, man. Choose to inspire, not destroy. You heard? Peace.
Peace.
Yo.
Yo, choose to inspire, not destroy.